Yesterday, my friend told me something that changed my perspective on how I now have come to understand Jungian functions. And what my friend told me yesterday was that whenever he sees an object, the object comes apart with all its pieces in the same way that the Iron Man suit comes apart in the movie Iron Man, where there's all the parts start fitting together back into the suit, and then they explode outward into all the pieces, and each piece is just there standing on its own. And so from what I gather from seeing lots of videos from Michael Pierce is that that would be extroverted intuition. And I think that he explains it, Michael Pierce explains things very well, but I think that he's kind of more formative, like in that he delineates everything he knows about a function and everything he knows about people. But I think that from what I'm going to try to do right now is to explain how that has to do with neurology. So the first thing to get into, I guess, is what is the difference between extroversion and introversion. Well, I think that introversion has to do with an internal mechanism, and extroversion has to do with an external mechanism. So, for example, my friend, when he sees an object, he takes the object as being componentized, or has lots of components to it that are all coming together and going apart. And so the thing is that that's an external it goes from internal and external. So he's taking an external he's taking something external and going inward into himself, whereas introversion, I believe, would be taking something internal and then projecting it. So I think that let me explain this by saying that I think currently that I am INTJ, and so I think that I'll go through all those functions of the INTJ to compare how my friend views things and how I view things. Now my friend is ENTP, and so the thing is that he has extroverted intuition first, and then introverted thinking second, introverted sensation third, and extroverted feeling the fourth function for the ENTP. And since I am INTJ, I have introverted intuition first, extroverted thinking second, introverted feeling third, and extroverted sensation fourth. Now, to best analogize what introverted intuition is that it's sort of like having waves on an ocean. So let's say that there are waves scattered about, and that they're flowing, and they're creating patterns and ripples, and they're all going past each other. And it's sort of like when you have a wire, an electrical cable, whereas the signal is going through the wire, but the wire is not recording anything that's going through it. It's just transmitting whatever it happens to be transmitting, no matter what the information going through it is. And so the thing is that with introverted intuition, what that is, it's observing all the internal things, whereas everything that's going through the entire body. So from what I hear about how people describe it is that, or how Michael Pierce described it from Jung's description, is that the entire body is a transmitter. That transmitter, like for example, it's going through the hand or through the leg, and that it's not really being attached to the person as something that is memorized. It's just like something that passes through the person as a perception. And so the opposite of that would be it would be introverted sensation. And so the thing is that with introverted sensation, it kind of, the ripples actually fold onto each other so that it's not going all the way through, but it's actually twisting around and enveloping itself inside the person, sort of like a bad LSD trip where all the walls are melting and everything's just distorting into itself. So whereas the introverted intuition would be it would just flow, the sensation would flow through the person and not even, and it would be observed in that way. With the introverted sensation, it would start folding onto itself and create it would create what distortion. And so next would be the extroverted sensation. So with the extroverted sensation, I believe that this is the part whereas extroverted sensation in people usually leads to drawing ability. So when you're able to draw a picture, it's the information coming from the outside is being absorbed into the person. So when it's being absorbed into the person, like you look at a flower or you look at a cat or a puppy, and like my sister, she's able to draw she's a ISFP, and she's able to draw photorealistic puppies and all sorts of photorealistic drawings. And so that's the thing, is that with the introverted sensation, the introverted intuition, it's not folding into itself. So like the thing is that when you have the extroverted functions, everything is going inward and then folding into itself to coagulate into what that is. But with the introversion, it's more of a, well, I guess that it also folds into itself, but it does it in a different way. Well, the folding into itself with the introversion doesn't need any external help when it's folding into itself. But when you're getting it from the outside, it's coming in, and when it's coming in, that's regulates how the folding happens. So my sister can draw anything she sees in a photorealistic detail, and that's because the folding process is being mediated from the external. Whereas my observation of everything in my body allows me to just let it be the way it is and not attach, and it folds inwards. And so the extroverted sensation and the introverted intuition work hand in hand, I think. Whereas she absorbs everything from the outside going in, and with me, I look at everything that's inside and allow it to flow without being attached to it. So I guess that it's kind of like being a ghost, kind of like realizing that everything that exists is just is not really you. So like for example, this bottle of Snapple, like I can look at the bottle and realize that this bottle is inside me. So I realize that when I look at the bottle of Snapple, I realize that when it's not in my when I'm not looking at it, and then when I look back at it, that it appears and disappears. And so it's like in Buddhism, that's the main focus of Buddhism, is to realize the impermanence of stuff. And so the thing is that with extroverted sensation, it's really becoming the knowing all the details in the entire object itself. But with the introverted intuition, it's realizing that even though it's there, it's still in your mind at the same time. And so because it's inside your mind at the same time, it's impermanent. Because with me, I realize that it's not there all the time. It's just there and it's not there. Sort of like waves on the ocean. Even though it gets in a storm and all the waves are going across each other in a storm, once that storm is gone, there's just you, which is the water, which isn't moving at all. And that's pretty much it. I don't really focus too much. I can't really draw that well, but I do realize, I think I do realize the impermanence of everything that's inside me and external to me, because everything is inside me. It's just that it's resonating and then it disappears. And so going back to the extroverted intuition, what that does is that it becomes something. So my friend would see the bottle and he would say, "Oh, the label came from this. The label came from a factory, and the top came from another factory, and the glass was molded by preheating the silicon, and it condensed and stuff." And so he sees everything that came to make the bottle, and everything goes into it. And with me, I just look at the bottle and realize that it's there, but then it can disappear and not be there. And so now, then going on to the judging functions, it's the same thing. Is that the introverted judgment doesn't need anything external to fold into itself. And with extroverted thinking, which is what I have because I'm INTJ, everything that I realize everything that's external to me, I realize that it all has a position in space. It all has a position in space, and it has a position in time, and how everything goes together. And so the thing is that it's real with me. Extroverted thinking is much like the extroverted intuition, except with me, I don't see where all the components go to. I just realize that an object can be here, and then it goes here, and that'll ripple out into what I need to accomplish a goal. And so the thing is that that the goal is to utilize all the objects I have to accomplish something. So if I need to invent something, I just realize that there's components, and you put the components together, and then those components have a function. So it's all about functionality when you're dealing with extroverted thinking. And so with the introverted thinking, all the components are in the mind. So you take a component and you combine them, but in the introverted thinking, it's taking them and the reference points. So the reference points are all in the mind. So if you think about like a cube, and you think about a hypercube, whereas it's a cube within a cube in the fourth dimension. So, and there you can Google it on Wikipedia, and you can see what a hypercube looks like. But to me, I don't consciously I don't see it. So consciously I don't see it in as a reference point inside my mind. I can think that unconsciously I know what its shape is without actually seeing what it is. I just know that each piece goes where it's supposed to go. And so with an INTP, their extroverted intuition would see all the parts like the Iron Man suit, and then with introverted thinking, put all those parts together. But with me, I would take like a hypercube and think of, and it would be totally unconscious. I would realize that there's a shape to it and that it has pieces, but I would not see it and I would not be putting it together the way an INTP would. And so that's the difference between extroverted thinking and introverted thinking, is that it takes the reference frame as a visual object to put it all together. Whereas me, I take it as an unconscious process, whereas it rotates, and then I don't really know how to explain it, because since it's happening unconsciously and I don't see it, how am I supposed to even know what the shape is? But I do, and I guess that's what being an INTJ makes them kind of weird, I guess. So the last two things are introverted feeling and extroverted feeling. Now with the extroverted feeling, they're seeing a person, and they're getting a sense of what they're like through observation. So they're seeing a person, and that's folding, and it's the mediated inward and then folding on itself. Whereas the extroverted feeling is folding on its, it also sees something out there, but it's attaching to it in a different way. It's like, for example, if I really like a person, I think about them, and I don't need them to be there in order for me to feel what I feel about them. But with an extroverted feeling, the person would have to be right there, and they would have to say, well, I know about this person from everything I know about them, everything they do and everything they say and everything, how their behavior. But with me, I wouldn't really think about behaviors so much as I would think about how they feel. So I guess that I wouldn't need them to act out how they feel for me in order to know how they do feel for me. So once an extroverted feeling person would see a person, like they would be looking at me right now and they would think, oh, well, there's a categorization of, I've seen all these people act the way he acts. Whereas a introverted person would say, okay, well, this person, I have an attachment to them. And since I have an attachment to them, I would think on a personal level everything about them and build up inside myself everything I know about them to the smallest detail, how they feel about this, how they feel about that, and it's very personal. But with the extroverted feeling, it would be categorized and very impartial. It may be that with the extroverted feeling, that they would also feel in their chest, and however their attachments would actually they would be more drawn to certain behaviors that would make them feel good. So they would say, oh, well, this person is acting kind towards me, and so I really like how people act kind towards me. And I guess that's I've seen other people do that before, and so that would mean that I really like that behavior, and because it makes me feel appreciated and everything like that. Whereas me, I would think that, oh, well, they're acting kind towards me, but are they acting kind towards me in a way that they're thinking about me personally? And so it would be, I think that it would be a deeper resonance with that person. So I would think about how they're generating their feelings from the inside, and then I would take that and say, okay, I'm generating from the inside what they would be generating from the inside, whereas extroverted person would say, okay, I'm acting the same way they're acting, and get at it that way. And so once that happens, well, like an INFJ would think, okay, well, I'm internalizing their behaviors and it's going through me, and I'm categorizing it like Michael Pierce. He categorizes. That's how he's able to understand typology in a much better way of explaining it than I am. And so the thing is that he sees all the categories of how people have acted, and then since he has the same thing as I do, introverted intuition, those those attachments of the what he likes is in a person, like he can see all the good qualities and all the bad qualities, but also since those qualities are those qualities would resonate through him, and then once he sees the resonance factor of how a behavior is going through his unconscious, he would think, I guess, that well, with me is that I would feel something towards a person, internally generating what I think that they're generating inside themselves, and then allowing that feeling to be inside me and observing it as and so since I would think that an INTJ would think that, okay, I know that there's a person that I really care for, and I'm internalizing who they are inside me, and And that once I know what that's like, I can feel how it's going through my unconscious, I guess. I don't really know how to say this better. But well, with an INFP, with them, they're generating internal feelings also. But since they have extroverted intuition second, it's like they're very creative storytellers. So they get attached to their imagination of what they're creating inside them. And so with the INFP, they would create a story like Calvin and Hobbes, whereas like there's all these wacky things going on where Calvin is trying to be like a space cadet, and he's like on a planet with aliens and he's shooting at them, and all those fun things that they do in their adventures with the tiger and Calvin. I don't know. But yeah, so I guess that's the best I can explain it. So with my friend is ENTP, and so I guess that like he likes to play video games a lot, and so when he plays the video game, his spatial awareness, he's able to see everything that can possibly happen. And because he can see everything that can possibly happen, he can solve puzzles. He's very good at solving puzzles, and he's like a top scorer in Grand Theft Auto, and he's able to be a top player and get all the people by shooting them, and he makes money in Grand Theft Auto in the game. And so and since I'm INTJ, I'm INTJ, and that's I guess that I really like to invent things, but I don't really have that many ideas. So the biggest struggle for me is that I can't hold things in my head in order to invent things. I guess that I just think of, I guess it pops out, and I draw a little shape, and then I try to use that as a reference frame. Since I use things external to me as a reference frame, not internal as a reference frame, and that's how I'm able to try to invent things. Like I really want to invent artificial intelligence, and I'm going to make a video about that after I conclude with this video. And so I guess that's what I'm going to do now. I'm concluding this video, and just to say that I think I'm INTJ.